My role as a galactic commando is simple. Infiltrate this facility and steal back the gold. If I'm careful, this should be easy. If I have any chance of escaping, I need to be clever. Here goes nothing. Well, that was easy. Welcome to Mike's Gaming Gala. I'm Mike, and this week is part 2 of our Lode Runner special. So we're looking at Lode Runner on the Intellivision from Blah Blah Woof Woof, now available through Intellivision Collector. Lode Runner comes in a flip-top box with a manual, 2 different overlays, we'll talk about why later, and a new injection molded cartridge. It's also available as a ROM package for those who would prefer that. Last week, we looked at the Atari 2600 version, and it set a high bar. Will this live up to it? Let's see. After the splash screen, we get a simple menu with 3 options: play, edit, and credits, which are selected by pressing the corresponding number on the keypad. Pressing 1 for play, we're right into the game. In last week's review, I talked about all of the block types and how to play. So if you're completely unfamiliar with Lode Runner, make sure you check out that video, as here I'll be giving a quick overview of the source material as opposed to a more in-depth repeat. The goal in Lode Runner is to collect all the gold bars in each stage and then escape in order to move on to the next one. You play as a white character on the screen, and you'll be chased by the red guards trying to stop you. At the bottom of the screen, from left to right, is your score, how many lives you have, and finally, the level you're on. If you're in a tight spot, you can use your laser drill pistol to create gaps in the bricks that the guards will fall into. When they're down in the hole, you can walk over them safely. Also, when a guard falls into a hole, they drop the gold if they were carrying any, which will be key to completing most levels. The action buttons on the left and right of your controller fire the pistol in either direction, giving you the ability to be precise and quickly create holes in the floor when you need them. You have to make sure that you create these pits in advance though. If a guard starts walking over one before it's completed, it'll stop drilling and they can walk right over it. After a short time, a guard in a hole will climb out again and continue their pursuit. If, however, they're still inside the hole when it starts rematerializing, they'll be eliminated. When this happens, they vaporize and shortly later come back at the top of the playfield at the same horizontal space that you're at. This is super dangerous, as if you're at the top of the playfield when this happens, it's instant death. Extra unfortunate considering that there are several stages that require you to be up there, and often, in order to get there, you may cause this to occur. In fact, if you watch my gameplay video tomorrow, you'll see I made it to stage 16 with 3 lives, only to have them all dashed by this very situation. Incredibly frustrating. When you create these holes, you can also jump through them for a quick escape, which is very convenient. In this version, the guards are much more predictable, chasing you pretty directly. This is both a blessing and a curse, as in most cases it's pretty easy to anticipate where the guards will move, but at other times it can be difficult to get them to move out of your way when you need them to, unless you perform some pretty long evasive maneuvers. In a word, they're lemmings. When you collect the final gold bar, new ladders will appear that lead to the top of the playfield. Climbing up ends the stage, and after your score tallies, you gain an extra life and move on to the next. There are 40 levels available to play here, and you have to beat them all consecutively with the lives provided. Now, you may be disappointed to hear that there are only 40 levels included here, but there's one feature included with the Intellivision Lode Runner that, if used properly, could really change your perception of that. Let's head back to the menu. Pressing 2 for edit brings you to something pretty special, a level builder. This is where you'll be needing that second overlay. Here, you can move your cursor around a blank screen, and when you want to place a block, just press the number on the keypad that corresponds to what you want to place. When you're finished building, pressing Enter brings you to 4 options. You can play your level, load a level, save the level to the cartridge, or clear the screen. Selecting Save gives you the option to save the level to a number between 41 and 50, meaning that you can save a total of 10 custom levels to your cart. One big and unexpected benefit to this level editor is actually found in the load feature. When you select load from the menu here, you're actually given the option to load any level between 1 and 50, meaning that you can load any level of the game. This is great if you want to practice certain stages or even just see some of the later ones that are difficult to get to. And that's Lode Runner for the Intellivision. So what did I think? Well, stay tuned as I'm about to get to the comparison in a minute here, but to give this version its due, I liked it. If you're a fan of Lode Runner or games of this type, it is a solid contender and I have no problem recommending it, especially if you're the type that would make good use of the level editor. I think you'll have a blast with that. Now, what you've all been waiting for, I'm sure. How does this one stack up against the Atari 2600 version? There are 2 different approaches here, so let's take a look at them side by side. Alright, the main event. Let's compare these bad boys. Let me start by saying that they're both great games. Lode Runner is fantastic source material, and if you just want to pick up the one for your favorite console, I doubt you'll be disappointed with either version here. We're going to split this up into a few categories: graphics, audio, gameplay, and features. First, graphically, they both look great for their respective systems. The 2600 version obviously takes some liberties based on the hardware limitations of the console, but everything here is clearly recognizable as what it's supposed to be. In addition to that, the animations are great, especially the transitions between levels and the animated menu. The Intellivision version takes advantage of the superior graphic capabilities of the system, with bright colors and a more defined playfield. The bricks, ladders, and gold bars are all super clear and look as they should. On the flip side, the transition between levels is a simple wipe, and the menu isn't animated. Not a big deal, but worth noting in the interest of being thorough. So graphically, for what can be expected on the system, the 2600 version is more impressive, but both versions successfully deliver that classic Lode Runner look. In the sound department, it's important to note that the source material has a pretty sparse audio landscape to begin with. That said, there's a definite winner in this category, and that's the 2600 version. Simply because included here are the little jingle when you reveal the ladders to complete the level, and the sound effect added to the wipe between each stage, which are not there on the Intellivision. Gameplay, arguably the most important category, really isn't a bone of contention here. Both games control smoothly and with precision. On the Intellivision, you have different action buttons assigned to shooting your laser drill on each side, which, when mastered, allows really quick control over what you need. Thankfully, on the 2600, compatibility with the Sega Genesis controller was added so that you can get the same precision there. I'm going to give them a tie for this one. Now we get to the features. On the 2600, we have a bunch of features and options that we can play with to customize our experience. We can adjust the running speed from super slow to crazy fast, select or use passwords in order to skip to any level that you've already reached, and you can even change the color scheme to reflect the Apple or Commodore versions of Lode Runner. In the actual game, you have a bonus timer for the opportunity at extra points, and an indicator of how many gold bars are left in each stage. These are additions to the source material and nice to have. The biggest feature here, though, is that this version has an astonishing 150 levels. Due to this, there are no limited lives, and you can try each level again and again until you beat it. On the Intellivision, we're a little more bare bones in the feature department. There are no speed or color options, no bonus timer, and no gold count. You have limited lives, and also, in this version, we only have 40 levels to play through. All that said, the one massive feature of note here is the level builder that gives you the ability to not only create and save an additional 10 levels, but also to recall and individually play any stage in the game. For creative types, this alone could put it over the top. I do have one criticism of it though. If the editor was able to generate a passcode that you could share with friends to play each other's levels, this feature would be off the charts for me. As it stands, you can only play your own levels, and you're limited to 10 of those. Luke, you want to sell more copies of this and have a cult following of people making and sharing levels? Maybe invest in a Lode Runner Deluxe, where you get a programmer to add a password generator to the edit menu. I know I'd buy it again. To finalize the comparison here, the 2600 game has a much fuller feature set and more than 3 times the playable stages. But for some, the ability to create your own levels on the Intellivision could trump all of that. Really, there's no wrong answer here. For me personally, the 2600 copy wins out. But your mileage may vary. Give me a Lode Runner Deluxe with shareable levels, and we may have to talk again. And with that comes the conclusion of our special Lode Runner two-parter. I really liked doing these ones, and I hope you enjoyed watching them. I'd be interested to hear what you thought. If you had to choose one, which would it be and why? I'm looking forward to reading the comments on this one. Thank you for watching my video, I hope you liked it, and thank you so much to my channel members. I appreciate the support so much. As always, my contact info is in the description, and we'll see you next time on Mike's Gaming Gala.